the famous, the shameless, the whatever JD says.
All of it.
All of it. Honestly, if I'm being honest, there's none of that today.
There ain't shit to talk about today.
There's nothing to talk about, so we're just, JD's hungry, so he's having snacks. He's muting the mic and having snacks because it's way too loud. Way too loud. Anyway, I'm Dash, aka, let's try to make this a good episode. because there's literally nothing to talk about. We have talked about rap beef ad nauseum. There is nothing left to say about rap beef.
Right.
And then
Except that they're using AI to make fakes. That's it.
right. And then there's really just nothing to talk about, period. We've covered it all. So we're gonna do something a little bit different. Maybe if you saw that other podcast, maybe this will seem familiar to you, but we haven't done this on weeknights. So, but co-host, you have something to say. You want to tell us who you are? He who snacks?
Exactly. I'm JD, aka He Who Pods, aka I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's it. In the wise words of a great man, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well,
But take it away.
I figured today we could do some "Am I the Asshole?" questions because we've got nothing else to talk about, and these are sometimes fun. So I have 3 that I picked out, and I'm gonna try to. They're long, so I think at least the first one I have to read the whole thing, but I'll try to condense them where I can. But you ready? You ready to hash it out? You ready to see if these people are, if they are who they say they are?
I was who I was when I got here.
All right. Oh, my iPad is doing something strange, so let me just find the photos wherever they are.
Do your thing.
All right, here it is. Okay.
No, I'm about to say, do I need to talk a little bit? Because, I freestyle a little bit.
You have something to say with your mouth full?
My mouth is empty. Mm-hmm. Neener, neener, neener.
Thanks
Mm-hmm.
so much. Anyway, this one is good. I like this one. Or
Take it away.
should we do this one last? All right, let's start with let's start with, am I the asshole for telling my fiance that he embarrassed me when he started singing the happy birthday song to his 5-year-old son at the restaurant? I'm gonna tell the story now. You ready? I, female 30, have been with my fiance Ned, a male 36, for a year and a half. He has a 5-year-old son with his ex-girlfriend. They don't have a custody arrangement, but he has him most of the week because the mom is currently sick. His son is lovely, but I noticed that Ned takes him everywhere he goes, including places that aren't child friendly, and we have an issue with that now, but we're working on it. His son's
What they got to do with him singing?
This is how you
What that had to do with him singing to his kid, though?
I think
Why should they? What? Come
I
on.
think that's where we're going with this. You got
And her boyfriend's name is Ned.
I think she put it in quotes. She made up a name.
Oh, all right. I'm about to say she's a goddamn liar. That nigga's name is not Ned.
No, that's
But made up name. God, I'm with the name. I'm with the made up names.
yeah.
All right, back to you.
His son's 5th birthday was days ago. Ned took us out to a restaurant to celebrate. The place was nice and looked a bit unfitting for the occasion because it was a somewhat expensive place. Anyways, we ordered food, then got the birthday cake, which was a surprise to me because I thought we were going to celebrate at home so we could be free to sing and play however we wanted. I still had no issue with that till Ned started singing the happy birthday song to his son. I was stunned. I almost dropped my plate. He was singing it at the top of his lungs, not even looking around or paying attention to how many people were staring at us awkwardly. I felt so embarrassed. I kept whispering for him to stop, but he ignored me. Like, stop it. Way.
Singing his little heart away. Sing your little heart out, Ned.
Of course, my future stepson was hype and a little too active, which isn't good when we're
Um,
at a public place. I expected the staff, the manager, anyone to get involved and stop him, but no one did.
Nah, let that man sing to his son. That's what they were saying.
In
They
fact,
were saying, let him sing to his son. He gonna tip us real good.
in fact, some woman came up to us and offered that she help him take a video recording. I wasn't in it at all. I froze in my seat looking stunned and a little angry. Oh wait, there's more. Okay.
Yeah, keep going. Back to my tips.
He looked at me later asking what was wrong. I didn't say anything except thanks for finally noticing. He didn't understand what I meant and I didn't explain till we were in the car. I flat out told him that he embarrassed me the second he started singing in the restaurant. He looked shocked, saying he didn't get why I would be so embarrassed by him celebrating his son's birthday and cheering him up. I told him we could have done this at home when we'd be more comfortable and free. He took it as in I was ashamed of him and his son, but I denied it and said that it just felt awkward and embarrassing to to maybe because I think she meant to say to me because I've never been in this situation and also judging from the restaurant we were at. He said that his son's mom is sick and he's trying to do all he can to cheer him up and that all families do that and no one had an issue with that except me. Then when I tried to explain, he got mad and said he no longer felt like talking. We haven't been speaking since then. It appears he's still salty about me saying what I said and insinuating that I see him and his son as an embarrassment. Am I the asshole? I think he's being too harsh with the whole ignoring me thing instead of talking it out.
Gotta talk it out, first of all. Very important.
Yeah,
In all forms of relationships, friends, family, significant other.
yeah.
Gotta talk it out. That's number one. Number two, I see both sides here. I gotta be honest. A lot of people don't know this because I shut up a lot of times when people sing in public. But I absolutely despise when people bust out singing in a public place where there's not any singing involved.
It's,
If we're at karaoke, sing your little heart out. If we're at a concert or someone's performance, sing your little heart out.
oh.
But if we are at a random ass place where you are not being asked to sing, I always feel like, why the fuck is this person singing right now? Shut up.
Does it make
We
you
are at the
uncomfortable when I sing
gym.
on the pod?
No, this is entertainment. You could sing the whole pod and I would just crack up and laugh.
Okay.
This is a place where singing is fine. But if we're at Planet Fitness getting sets in, why are you singing in the middle of the sets? Mad loud for everybody to hear you. Shut the
So
hell
does
up.
Planet Fitness play music?
Yeah,
I totally
but
see
not for you to
somebody
sing
like
along with.
accidentally singing along to
Ain't
something
no
by Planet.
accident. We're adults. You opened your mouth, you took a breath, and
Oh,
tried to
okay.
let go from the diaphragm. This is not an accident. So I totally
Wow.
understand her side of, yo, this is mad embarrassing.
Yeah.
We did not talk about this.
Okay.
You are giving us lots of attention that
Okay.
I don't want,
Hmm.
and I didn't even know was coming. I am embarrassed and caught by surprise. I totally see that side. However, I also see the other side. Yo, let me sing to the little nigga, man. He's 6.
He's 5.
Or 5, excuse me. He's 5. Let me sing to my 5-year-old. Who cares if it's embarrassing? It ain't about you right now. It's about this little guy. Let the little guy enjoy his moment and be embarrassed. Hey, listen, you could tell me when we get home,
Yeah.
babe, please don't do that again, especially without warning. I was embarrassed. I wasn't ready. And truly, I would prefer if we didn't do that. And we could have a discussion. But, let the little man get his shine. Especially mom is sick. Dad is trying to do all he could do. Have just a slice of empathy. Just a slice. You don't even got to have a slice of cake, but have a slice of empathy.
I think this should have started with the restaurant, right? I think if this person was so felt so strongly about oh, this restaurant might be a little bit too, well, the person used expensive. So I'm assuming maybe it was an upscale restaurant. Fine. You could say, oh, should we go somewhere more kid friendly? That might have been the first line of defense. Because at the
But
very
wait a
least,
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Why are you taking a 5-year-old to an expensive restaurant for their birthday? I don't understand. Why are we not at like Chuck E. Cheese or some random ass 5-year-old appropriate place? Like why?
that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm in agreement with
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I'm saying I don't understand why they're even there if that's the case. Because I didn't even think about that. Like, you're right, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
If I'm celebrating my 5-year-old's birthday, we're not going to a 5-star restaurant. Like
right.
we're
And
going to some place that they're gonna have fun, like some arcade that serves nuggets or
nuggets and
something. Like
fries,
and I could get like, all right, maybe
butter
nothing that
noodles.
right. Maybe you want to go to somewhere that's cool. Like there's as a parent or even just someone who be with kids. Like you can have nieces, nephews, whatever. You know the spots you take small kids.
Yeah.
You also know the spots you truly enjoy as an adult, but don't want kids there.
Right. It's a
And
different
most people
experience.
don't want kids there. You
Yeah.
know the places that you know you about to spend $100 a person. You don't when you walk in that motherfucker and somebody's kid is there. You like, why they got a kid? There's kids here today?
Yeah. That's a
Maybe
thing.
I chose the wrong day to come here.
Yeah.
That's not where you go to celebrate the 5-year-old's birthday.
No, which is why I think that maybe the way, and I guess she couldn't have known that he was going to sing, but I think the way to circumvent this whole uncomfortable situation would have been to say, hey, that's where we're going. He turned 5, and can we go somewhere a little bit more kid friendly where he'll have a fun time? Maybe it's someplace that has pizza or whatever it is kids like to eat. Maybe it's someplace that has games or something that we could do that's fun and interactive. Because 5-year-olds are active. So I think it would have been really easy to pivot away from the upscale restaurant. I also think that expensive is relative, right? Like, so um I don't even know what this person is considering, cuz they just used the word expensive, but I don't even know what that means to them, cuz it could mean, you know, it can mean a number of things.
Olive Garden.
But that's why I'm saying, like, there might be somebody who's like, "Oh, well, maybe we needed to go to the ball pit at McDonald's instead of going to Olive Garden." Or maybe there's somebody who's saying, "Oh, it's more like a Ruth's Chris vibe. Like, we went to Ruth's Chris, that's more expensive, right?" So I don't know exactly what they meant by that, but if I'm just guessing and I'm thinking about what I consider expensive, no, I'm probably not gonna take the 5-year-old there, or I'm probably gonna suggest against, as a woman who doesn't have a kid, if I'm with my significant other who has one and we're trying to take them out for their birthday. I think it makes more, I understand, like, trying to go above and beyond because this kid is going through something very traumatic, not being around his mom and all of that. And I totally understand that. But I think that was the angle. I think the angle right there would have been, let's make this work. Let's make this so fun for him. Like, let's do something really fun. And then when we get home, we can celebrate with cake and all of that. But I'm also the type of person that would plan ahead. She doesn't sound like she was really involved in the planning of it, because me, I would have already had the cake at home.
Yeah, it definitely. I agree. I think that already before we even get to the restaurant, there was a lack of communication
Yeah, agree.
because there probably should have been a discussion. It doesn't seem like there was one.
No.
Doesn't seem like it seemed like they missed out on a few conversations. But
Yeah.
just addressing the restaurant choice, it seems like there was a discussion that should have happened about the restaurant choice and it didn't, which then leads to the other stuff that she felt was
Right.
embarrassing, right? So if you were in Chuck E. Cheese, for example, I'm not saying people should go to Chuck E. Cheese or should not, but just for example, If you're in Chuck E. Cheese and you bust out singing, shit, 30 people might just join in. Oh, happy birthday. Yeah, they don't care. It's Chuck
To
E. Cheese.
you.
Yeah, you know, people trying to hit notes they can't even hit. Ooh, you know, all that.
Yep.
Everyone claps. Yay!
Right. If this was Fun
Happy
Time
birthday,
USA,
Max.
if this
I
was
mean,
Fun Time USA, if this was the McDonald's with the ball pit on Utica Avenue, if this was
yeah, people
if
just
this,
like, hey, it's a good time.
if this was I don't know where to Dave and Buster's.
Exactly. You got to be
Um
careful with Dave and Buster's. A lot of adults at Dave and Buster's. But
right, but
yes,
during
all
the
of those are
day,
correct.
and I gotta be honest, I'm one of the adults that get upset when the kids are playing the games that I want to play at Dave and Buster's.
You're a hater. You just leave them kids in. Nobody told you to come here at 10 a.m. when they open. Anyway,
Don't get on my Guitar Hero
hello.
unless
Let me
you
tell you
ready
something.
unless you're ready to
Let me
duke
tell
it
you,
out.
let me tell you something. Little Max will bust your ass in Guitar Hero. That's the funny thing
Nah.
about going to something like a Dave and Buster's early in the morning when they first open. You be on some like, yeah, we're gonna go to Dave and Buster's for our little date, and then we'll go to brunch, okay? And it sounds like a good time. And little Max be looking at you like, you want you next? You sure you next? All right.
When they
Look at you be busting your ass trying to beat Little Max.
exactly.
Little Max is chilling. Little Max is like this. He knows it by heart. Little Max is just looking at you.
Carpal tunnel kicking.
He ain't even looking at the screen. He's looking at you.
Oh my gosh! Meanwhile, my fingers are cramping up because I'm old and I've been typing
He's
for
talking
years.
shit. He's talking shit to you, but kind of helping you at the same time. He's like, no, you gotta hold the buttons for this one. Hold it like
Yo,
this.
oh, true. Especially when the kids start to line up.
Oh
You
yeah,
lining up. Listen, I'm playing my game.
yeah. Getting your ass buzzed by 5-year-old Max. Because what you don't know is all 5-year-old Max does
It's play
is
Guitar
play
Hero.
Guitar Hero now.
Right. Meanwhile,
Little
I got a
Max be
whole
here
ass
every
job.
Saturday at 10 a.m. when they open, and here you come trying to impress your little lunch date, trying to impress your date. No, babe, listen, Derek. I'm trying to tell you, Derek, this is my game. Derek, I love Guitar
Oh,
Hero. I'm telling you.
listen,
Now Derek is embarrassed like the lady
listen.
in this story.
Them little
Because you
niggas be
got
lining
Derek then
up.
watch you get your ass buzzed by a 5-year-old.
They be lining up, and I'll be like, not yet, not yet. It's not your turn yet.
And this is why you're a cool grandma, but not really. But not really. Anyway, back to this scenario here.
Right. So,
Um,
okay, go ahead.
we moved past the restaurant choice. Cool. Yeah, you should
Yeah.
have had a better restaurant choice in a conversation. Now, as far as singing,
Okay. Hmm.
I like I said, I see both sides. And I would like to move past the restaurant and the singing to what happened after. Now, he's thinking he didn't do anything wrong. He's thinking in his mind, man, I gave my kid a good moment and we move on.
Yeah.
But she's not. And this problem now comes from communication. And I don't think she's necessarily an asshole because I'm an asshole. So, like I said, I see both sides because I,
Mhm.
I I definitely understand the hey, shut the hell up.
What the
Why
hell
are
you
you
think?
singing?
Yeah. No, I
Why are
understand.
you singing?
I don't like
So
that
then,
singing stuff
like
at all.
my initial thought when you just read the headline or the main part was like, yeah, shut up. We at the restaurant, but gotta be objective. And I think the
Mhm.
problem comes afterwards when you don't express things properly to the other person.
Right.
Because it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be embarrassed, but you have to speak to this person and have a clear conversation about what went down so they can understand your side. And now they can have a slice of empathy for you. Because when you're in dad mode, you're not always necessarily thinking about
Right.
everyone else. You're thinking, all right,
I'm
this is
trying to
what
get my
my
kid
kid
happy.
wants, this is what my kid needs, this is the priority. Like if my daughter's about to pee herself because she got to use the bathroom, I don't really care about anybody
Anything
else
else?
right
Yeah.
now. I'm trying to get my kid to a bathroom, even if I gotta push somebody out the way. Hey, yo, move, son. I'm trying to get my kid in the bathroom. We get scrapped while she's peeing, as long as she gets to pee before she pees herself. Extreme example, but I'm just saying sometimes that's how it is as a parent. So one, I understand that, and again, I see both sides. I understand as someone who is not a parent, how this might not have registered in your mind. Where, hey,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give my kid who's going through a hard time a fun time and celebrate him as he should be celebrated as a kid turning 5. So I also understand the person who's not a parent not really understanding that, but it seems to me like this person lacks a little bit of empathy, and like they both are lacking in the communication piece a little bit,
Mhm.
because if now he is taking it where, oh, you think me and my son are embarrassing and I don't want to talk to you, you got to calm down and talk to her and find out what's really going on, because clearly y'all are not communicating well here. And if you care enough to stay in this relationship, you both got to put the egos in the back pocket and have some honest conversations. So next birthday, yeah, don't go to the 5-star restaurant, and maybe he doesn't sing. Maybe you let the staff at Chuck E. Cheese do it, or whatever. I don't know, Dave and Buster's. Listen, lots of restaurants, they love to come over and do happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. And I hate that, but some people, some people love that. And you could get your happy birthdays off, at the proper establishment.
There's definitely a place to do that, and it's not every restaurant. There are you know what embarrasses me? On my co-host on camera. That's what embarrasses me.
Yo,
What was happening there?
I was trying not to grab too. It's like crumbs at the bottom of the bag now. I got the big. You see the bag? Like, look what's left right here. Look what's left.
You were like, that's not the chip I wanted.
All that's left. This itty bitty bit in my big party size bag. This is gonna be the artwork right here. Let me turn the bag around so we don't sponsor them. Find out if we got the artwork.
You were like,
This all that's left.
yeah.
So you be in there
No, you're
digging
good.
for
It
the
doesn't show the
crumbs.
entire logo, by the way you were holding it. So you're good.
Yeah, this is all that's left. All right, so this will be the artwork.
Yeah.
This all that's left in my bag. So I didn't wanna grab too many crumbs and I look like a fatty fat. You know what I mean?
But you kind of
I
looked
don't.
like you were examining
But
it.
but then what happened was I also understand that I don't want to grab too many crumbs, and I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? You know when you be like trying to get all the crumbs in there, you trying to shovel them in.
You
I didn't want to do that, so at this
okay.
point, I'm gonna just sit them over there on the couch.
I think that's
I'm
a
gonna have
good
to sweep.
idea.
I'm gonna have to sweep after that because I dropped some on the floor, and we'll just move to snack number 2. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
wow, this is a whole okay. I did not realize that this was the snack hour. Oh, okay.
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
Well then, let's move on to the next Am I the Asshole, which is about food.
There you go. Let's do it.
Let's
Take it away.
let's do it. But I should say I agree with everything you said. I don't think there's anything to add there. I do think that the better communication would have helped throughout the entire thing. I do want to go back to real quick to like when they're actually in the moment in the restaurant. That's not that's not the time to be whispering, please stop. Just you gotta the train is
You
already
gotta
off the
eat that.
tracks.
You gotta eat that.
Yeah, and the train's already off the tracks. I
Pun,
at
pun
that point,
intended.
yeah. At that point it was like,
Listen, if she communicated properly, he might have ate that.
all right.
Sometimes you gotta just, know how to apologize.
I agree with that.
I mean, fellas, those listening, watching, viewing,
All right.
thank you.
This is
We
not
appreciate you.
the Man Cave Monday. podcast. Okay?
I'm just saying, fellas.
This is not
Sometimes
the
when you
Man Cave
embarrass your
Monday
queen,
podcast.
I'm just trying to give him a little piece, a little slice of advice. Sometimes, and ladies too, sometimes you gotta just apologize in a certain way, to let them know, hey, my bad. I didn't mean to do that, but I'm gonna make you feel good since I made you feel bad.
Sure, yeah.
That's all.
Agreed. I just didn't know where you were going with that, and
That's it.
I
You
got
know
it.
what I mean?
I got it. Thank you. But you're
You're
absolutely
welcome.
right. Sometimes you got to think outside the box.
Or never mind. Go
Yep,
ahead.
exactly. I think that's, yep. All right. Okay, this one's kind of long. It says, am I the asshole for not liking Indian food? Okay.
Off of that line, I'm gonna say no. But please tell us more.
You don't like Indian food?
It's cool.
I like Indian food sometimes. I ate,
Well,
I ate a
you know,
lot of Indian food as a kid because my parents, like, their good friends were Indian. So, like, every event was Indian food and we just had a lot of it. So now as an adult, I can't really, like, I can't eat it a lot.
I totally understand. That's me with Spanish food.
Yeah.
I got a strict once a month Spanish food rule,
Hmm.
or less. But anyway, I do like Indian food. But Indian food has a lot of spice. Um, and sometimes, and also when you're not used to eating that type of stuff, your body sometimes rejects that stuff.
Oh, it will tear your stomach up.
So you have to be ready
Yep.
for the aftermath, you know, because you might need to be somewhere where you are able to release those demons.
Now, what I will say is, all the fellas you were just talking to, if that's the way you're gonna apologize, don't have Indian food beforehand.
No one should have Indian food before the apology.
Yeah, no.
And if you did, you might want to wait 24 to 72 hours before you properly
Take a nice good shower.
a couple of them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I actually didn't think about that when I read this. We'll get there. Okay. This one's kind of long. I'm trying to read them fast. I know we probably don't have time for the third one, but we'll do this one quick. Okay. My 30, huh? Oh, I'm a 30-year-old male. Girlfriend is 27, 27-year-old female. Um, she's Indian. She moved to US a few years back. I'm American, white if that matters. We live in North Carolina. My girlfriend loves to cook. She told me so on our first date. However, I'm not the biggest fan of Indian food. I find that a lot of spices used in Indian food irritate my stomach, and I have a very low tolerance for hot or spicy food.
Mm.
She Sorry about the sounds. Um
I didn't hear anything.
oh.
Maybe because I'm true.
She never had an issue with this and never forced me to eat anything I didn't want to. In fact, whenever I stayed over, she made me things like pancakes and French toast, and they were incredible. She is a very good cook. A word of advice: don't judge a person on their pancakes or waffles. Low hanging fruit. Anyway,
That's hey.
it's not. It's okay.
Everybody got their specialty. Maybe she's really good at breakfast.
I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying that doesn't. Pancakes and waffles don't make you a good cook. That's my only point. Her pancakes and waffles are probably incredible. That doesn't mean that she could like cook a meal. Does it? All right, when you done. 2 weeks ago, we moved in together. Our place has a large, fully equipped kitchen, and my girlfriend was ecstatic about all the things she can do. I was happy to see her so happy. However, in all our excitement, I didn't realize how our food preferences can actually become a problem. You see, I didn't realize that she cooks and eats a lot of Indian food, like all the time. For the past year, whenever we've spent time at each other's apartments, she's always made me things like ramen, pasta, lasagna, tacos, soups, grilled cheese, etc. That's, I think, where he cleared up that she can cook.
Right.
Um, I figured that that's what she normally ate. I have a few Indian American friends, and they've told me they don't exclusively eat Indian food at home, so I thought it was the same thing with her. Yesterday, she was super excited to show me something and dragged me to the kitchen. There, she unveiled a whole drawer of spices. We're talking 20 to 30 different types of whole slash crushed slash powdered spices, neatly stored in glass bottles and labeled. I asked why she needed so many spices, and she replied, to cook Indian food, silly.
Duh.
I told her that I didn't like Indian food, and she told me not to worry. She wouldn't force me to eat anything. That it's just for her meals, and that she'd make separate meals for me. I asked her if she could simply not cook Indian food at all in our house because the smell is so pungent, and if she'd cook regular food instead. She told me
Out of
that
line. Completely out of line.
She told me that Indian food is regular food for her, and I'm going to have to get used to it. I insisted, and she said that she'll only consider giving up cooking Indian food if I give up cooking meat at home because she's a vegetarian, because she doesn't like the smell of meat being cooked. I told her that it was unfair. It was an unfair ask because she never objected when I cooked with meat at my apartment. She told me that she's only demanding that I give it up because I'm doing the same thing to her. I got quite mad and told her she was being extremely unreasonable as I need meat, I work out a lot, and I need the protein. But she doesn't need to eat Indian food all the time and can order takeout if she craves it. She told me that restaurants are not very good where we live and that it's unhealthy to eat takeout every day. We ended up arguing for a while and now we're not talking to each other. Am I the asshole for insisting that she doesn't cook with spices?
Yes. You white, bland, food eating motherfucker. First of all, y'all should not be together.
No.
Second of all, you clearly have communication issues once again. Because I don't know how the hell you moved in together without ever discussing any of this at all. Like, honestly, there is mad shit that they did not discuss, and that is a problem. And that is a reoccurring problem because people don't communicate. And today, people move in after 2 weeks. And for the internet, I'm being sarcastic. I don't literally mean 2 weeks because I know y'all motherfuckers would be in the comments saying, no one moves in after only 2 weeks.
I just don't, excuse me, I just don't understand why it is that, why you would think, I don't think it warrants, I don't think it warranted a conversation for her to declare that she was going to make Indian food when they lived together.
Oh, yeah, he's a bozo. I mean, listen,
I just,
you started this by saying she just moved here. What do you think a person who just moved here from another country is going to eat? The food that is from the place they're from? Duh.
it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, in what world did you think that you would live with someone who was culturally different from you and that their culture wouldn't be a part of their everyday life?
Because the colonizers often think
Well, yeah.
that because they don't have culture, that the rest of us will just adapt to their lack of culture.
Right.
When I'm sure, and this is the ironic part for me, and I don't mean to sound like Dr. Umar or nothing up here, but this is the ironic part for me. Let's be real. Part of the reason you like this woman is because she is quote unquote exotic, quote unquote foreign. Because there's a bit of fetishizing going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Fetishizing?
Fetishize.
You know what I'm saying. Fetishizing going on here. You like that there's some forbidden fruit available to you now.
Oh,
And so there are things that come along with that.
right.
And so you
Definitely.
cannot simply assume, sir, that this woman is going to rid herself of everything she knows
No.
for the 27 years that she's been on this planet to adapt to spiceless meat and, dare I say, subpar food.
Well, but also to go beyond that, you like her because she's someone who cooks regularly. She's
Right.
someone who has that sort of personality. Look at what she said. I don't need you to eat my food. I will cook different food for you. She's not even saying fed. Some women would walk into that situation saying, "This is what I'm cooking, and you got to figure out what you want to eat if you don't want to eat this."
Absolutely.
She said,
A
"I will
queen who
cook two
deserves better.
separate meals."
A queen who deserves better. A queen, listen,
As a woman who grew up in a
you're a little
household,
young, but if you need an older friend to talk to,
all right.
you're right.
As a woman who grew up in a
At, at cherry eggplants, at cherry eggplants.
you done? Or you finished?
I'm finished and I'm done.
As a woman who grew up in a household where this was like a thing, my dad became a vegetarian. I don't know. One day he just came home and was like, I don't want to eat
I'm
meat
done.
anymore.
It'd be like that. I did the same thing.
And the rest of us, the four of us, still ate meat. And my mom just pivoted. My mom was like, okay, well, you don't eat meat anymore. So I guess I've got to make he's pescatarian. So she'd be like, I gotta make fish or veggies, fish and or veggies
Right,
for you, and then I gotta make whatever meat dishes for them,
right.
for us.
And
So
that, by the way, I would like to just interject and say that's an awesome thing that a person is doing because they care. This woman and your mother, neither of them had to do that.
right, and that was where what I was getting to. I think that it's a very caring thing. I think it also speaks to probably her nurturing nature, where she's just like, I just want to take care of you in the way that I know how. And just even thinking about Indian culture and thinking about the culture around food, it is very much about sharing, and like there's a lot of love that is associated with it, and a lot of passion in making the food. And so, sir, sir, let her make her food. Let her make her food. If you don't like it, there are candles you could buy that will kill the smell. Put out a bowl of vinegar in the kitchen when she's done cooking. There's so many things you could do. If you love this woman, if you care about this woman, why? What are we talking about right now? Now y'all
Now,
can't be together because she's gonna cook Indian food in the home that you guys are living in together. And how did you think that this was not going to happen?
because he's greedy and selfish. That's why.
Right. This is so selfish.
Absolutely.
This is so selfish. I don't understand. You have to be able to at the very least compromise. And
Absolutely.
I couldn't help but think to myself, wait a minute. So she's vegetarian, and when she cooks for him, she cooks meat for him. I assume that's what it is. That
Absolutely.
was that was
You
implied.
mentioned lasagna and other things. Yeah.
Right. It was implied that she cooks meat for him, and she can't cook her Indian food because the spice is gonna bother you. So which one is it? It hurts your stomach, or you just don't like you just don't like it. You just don't want to be around it. Cause
The
that's
problem,
that's that's xenophobic as fuck.
and the problem is, in all relationships, there needs to be communication and compromise.
Yeah.
Clearly, you two are in opposing views and stances on this matter.
Mhm.
And that's fine. But this is why you have to have important conversations before A, committing to relationships, B, taking leaps and bounds and moving in together.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't even I don't know how they got to the point of moving in together. And the reason I say that is because if this is his stance on this, you're telling me that there were no signs. I can't imagine that there were no signs that this person was inflexible before you moved in together.
But that's why I made the 2 week sarcastic comment, because they probably were not together very long.
Maybe not, but I think
Food
that
is an important topic. People talk a lot about food, especially today where it's all on social media.
yeah,
You're sharing restaurants. Ooh, babe, look, I saw this one. Oh man, I saved it. We should go here on Saturday. After we go to Dave and Buster's, this is where we should go to eat.
yeah.
You know,
No, I agree. I think that food comes up. I mean, it's the one of the things that we do to sustain. So it's constantly happening. We're constantly eating. There's it's kind of hard to avoid conversations about food, but he made it very clear that they've had conversations about food. But you can't say I don't like something, and I don't like something translates into you can't like it either.
right. And I want to say also, even him quoting that he has, referencing that he has other Indian American friends, well, then it don't sound like you connected with them on a deeper level, because then they would have told you, oh, she's about to make mad Indian food. That's number one. Which number two, I think is just common sense. But number three, I will also like to say there's a difference between Indian American friends and a woman who just moved here.
Exactly.
Like, I, I know people who are of quote unquote Hispanic descent and lived here their whole lives.
Hmm.
Those people are extremely different than a Hispanic person who just got here.
Hmm. Yeah.
They're totally different in so many instances, in food, in culture, in the way they speak. It's so many different things that just are not going to connect because of the fact that you've had mad time here versus the person who just got here.
No, I agree. I agree. I always used to think my mom was the most Guyanese woman I knew. Just because.
Un- until
Until my grandfather's wife would come and come to stay with us for like months at a time. And then I'd be like, oh, okay. It is different. It is different because because she is actually, well, she was actually immersed in the culture every single day. My
of
mother had been
course.
here for however many years and has assimilated, and while she's still very much deeply involved in her culture, it's it's different. It's
Absolutely.
different because America makes it so that you have to adapt. You can try to resist adapting, but but this country makes it so that you have to adjust to the way of life that exists here. And honestly, he is a good example of that. Where it's like, well, you're here now, so you got to do what I do and forget about what it is that's culturally important to you.
Yep.
And I say, fuck him.
And
Leave him.
that's why I use the term colonizer.
Yeah,
Because
leave him.
this doesn't sound like a guy who is, yes, he is a white guy, but it doesn't sound like a white guy who is accepting of her and her culture.
Right.
It doesn't sound like someone who wants to understand her and her culture, which is also part of being together, in my opinion.
Yeah,
When you're with someone
of
of
course.
another culture, part of that is getting to know their culture, because that's something that you're going to be around long term if you're trying to be with this person. Example, you saying that you can't be around Indian food even being cooked, brother. How you think you're gonna operate? Because you're gonna be at family functions. What you think they're gonna be doing at the family function?
What if y'all have children? God forbid.
And that's the next step. What do you think is gonna happen? But I'm just saying, even if you just like, hey, we're going to my mom's house on Sunday. We're gonna spend the day there. What do you think the day there is gonna be? Part of that is getting to know the other side of the things,
Yeah.
especially when you're dating someone whose culture is totally different than yours. You
Yeah.
know, even a lot of us talk about how growing up we have different experiences, even though we're all brown skin, or we're all some kind of melanated. Um, you know, in this culture, we all have grown up different experiences growing up, right? If
Mhm.
you might be black appearing, but grew up in a predominantly Spanish household, or you might be, you know, uh-oh, I don't know if it's recording.
It looks like
Oh,
it.
yeah, I said it was trying to connect to my internet.
Mm.
My point is, you can have different experiences growing up. When you leave your house and go to someone else's
Mhm.
house, even who is a melanated person, sometimes that other person's house is a totally different experience.
Yeah.
So imagine the culture shock of the person who grew up as an American white person going to be with a person who just got here from another country. It doesn't even matter what country they came from,
Of course.
just
Yeah.
another country. Even if it was another white country, it could be someone who just got here from Ireland or Italy,
Yeah. The experiences,
England,
their experience would still be different.
whatever. Yeah, it's still going to be that. You have to understand two things. One, this person is adapting to everything that's going on in America. They were an adult when they got here, and
Hmm.
they are trying to adapt and conform to this new society and new living experience. Number two is, as the person dating this person who just got here, you got to understand that they are still very tied to that culture. That's the anchor in which, bless you,
Thank you.
that's the anchor that they have. That's part of their core belief system,
Right.
and just
Exactly.
life experience. So you got to understand, yo, they don't really understand this,
Their
and that's
worldview
culture
is
theory.
completely
Because
different.
right, so even and that ties back to even growing up here. Like, you could grow up in a predominantly Spanish household, for example, and then go meet somebody who's Indian. Same, almost the same thing. You could be Spanish American, Black American, whatever. And you meet this other person, their living experience is totally different than yours. You know what I'm saying? Like, even just having friends, I talk to friends and I'm like, yeah, growing up XYZ, and they're like, oh yeah, that wasn't allowed in my house. Like, all right, when I tell people hip hop was not allowed in my house,
Hmm.
people always are like, what does that mean? What would happen if hip hop came on? It's like mind blowing to people.
Yeah.
So, and I grew up here. And not like I grew up in
Right.
Guatemala. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. But in my quote unquote Spanish household, hip hop wasn't allowed. It was the enemy. It was not okay. And I know you probably don't understand that if you see me today and know how I operate as somebody who doesn't know me. But when you meet somebody who's like, oh, I'm Puerto Rican, but in my house, we all was listening to hip hop all the time. We was blasting Big
Mhm.
Pun the moment we woke up on the weekends. Totally different cultural experiences, totally different lived experiences. So that amplifies when it's someone who is not from the country and is coming here with an entire lived experience as an adult
Right.
from another country. Part of saying I'm going to be with this person
It's like
is one,
culture.
right. You got to be willing to understand
Mhm.
what they're going through, have empathy for what they're going through, and be willing to immerse yourself in their culture. I don't understand how you don't do that with somebody you're with, period. Because part of getting to know
Exactly.
someone and saying we're going to be a couple is getting to know the things they're into, the things that they grew up with. All of that cultural lived experience is part of what you learn and envelop yourself in when you get to know this person.
Because that is that person's foundation. That is everything. The way they see the world is through that lens. And
Right.
if you if you commit to learning about that, you'll understand them better. You'll be able to communicate with them better. You probably have a much more successful relationship if you actually take the time to understand where this person is coming from, what what their values are, and what their culture is and what that means to them. It means something different to everyone.
Yep.
How does it impact them? It could be food, it could be work ethic, it could be the way they want to raise children. It's their entire worldview that is uh, off of the basis of this life that they've had. It doesn't mean that they are not open to your culture or
Right.
what your worldview is, but it means that they have a different perspective.
Yep.
And sometimes that's important for two people to come together and share their perspectives and be able to see it from the other side. And you'd find better compromise. You'd find common ground. You'd find the middle way. If that is a relationship that you really want to be in, you find
Right.
that middle ground. But you can't find it if you are so closed off to who that person is, where that person comes from, and why that person does what they do, or behaves the way they behave, or believes what they believe. Like,
Yeah.
it's so mind blowing to me. And at the surface, like when you read the comments to some of these things, to some people it's just food, but it's like when you really think about it, it's
Yes,
so
yes,
much
no.
more than food.
Yeah, I agree.
So, well, that was a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Uh,
Fuck it, and it's bland food.
yeah, yeah, and you got to eat food too.
Yeah, and it wasn't bland. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll save the third one for another day. But this was fun. This was fun. We gotta do this another time.
Yeah. Another
Hopefully we'll
time when
have
I'm here, when I'm only here, so I won't be fine.
right. Hopefully tomorrow there will be
Well,
topic.
new music is dropping tonight, so if nothing else, we'll
I'm
have
not staying
music
up at
to talk
3 o'clock
about.
in the morning though to listen to music. So like I did a couple weeks ago. So I'm just saying. But anywho, this has been Weeknights, and we hope you come back because these were not our regular topics. So
Sometimes you got to create through it.
it was a wild card episode. I like
That
that.
it is.
Yeah. Anyway, you don't be the asshole, and you have a good night.
Thanks. You
I
too.
I wasn't really talking to you. I was talking to. I was
Oh, the audience.
yeah.
Oh, because I was like, man, what a way to speak to me on camera.
Oh, I wasn't talking about you.
Maybe you need to learn my culture. You know what I'm saying?
That's precisely what it is.
Come on, man. Take us home. Take us home. Take us out of here.
Well, this was Weeknights, and we will see you tomorrow. It'll be Friday. Bye.